Hi, and welcome to another Cook Along Essential recipe. I love pasta, and if I'm having good pasta, I want a really good tomato sauce. And it's summertime, so let's celebrate tomatoes with a small batch of my summer edition of tomato sauce. Now, maybe you come from a family that has that big tradition of spending all day or days making tomato sauce to last you through the winter. Well, I'm making a small batch and I'll walk you through every step. How to peel and seed your tomatoes to get them ready to make the sauce, how to build in lots of flavor, give it a quick cook, only an hour on the stove, and then before you know it, you're cooking up your favorite pasta dish, little grated cheese, you'll be all set. Join me for an essential recipe, my summer edition of tomato sauce. I was so excited to see field tomatoes now available at the local markets, which is why I was inspired to share this essential recipe with you. So I have Roma tomatoes. It's still early in tomato season, so the bigger, more lush San Marzanos aren't available, but you want to use a Roma tomato or similar because it's got more body to it than it does seeds and juice. So you're going to get a better yield out of your tomato sauce and a better texture too in the finished sauce. To get your tomatoes ready for making tomato sauce means you have to peel and seed them. So first thing you do is you blanch them. So while I'm bringing a pot of water up to a boil, I take a paring knife and I score the bottom of each tomato. That way the water can get in, the skin will split, making it easier to peel in the end. I blanch about a dozen tomatoes at a time, a single layer in the water, have an ice water bath on hand, just 30 seconds, no more than a minute. When you see the skin starting to split, you transfer them to the ice bath to halt cooking. You don't want them to cook in that water after all, and continue until all your tomatoes are done. After your tomatoes have cooled, then you peel them. And sometimes they're easy enough to peel with just your fingers, or you can take a little paring knife just to coax it along. But don't throw away those skins. I start collecting those in a strainer over a bowl, because the next step is to cut off the stem end, cut your tomatoes in half, and then you have to get rid of the tough center core and the seeds and water from the tomatoes. You don't want a watery tomato sauce, but we want to save that water to add flavor to our tomato sauce. So after you've got your tomatoes ready, this is what you're left with. Basically, these are called tomato fillets, filleted tomatoes. The seeds are removed, the tough core in the center is gone. If there are a few seeds, it's okay. And I've got my juices draining there that I'm going to add to the sauce once I get everything cooking. All right. So with this, I'm ready to start cooking my tomato sauce. And admittedly, this is a smaller batch. You can double up, triple, quadruple. If you're buying a bushel of tomatoes, you might have to. I'm going to start my heat on medium because now we're going to build in our flavor into the tomato sauce. So a little bit of olive oil. And I've diced up a couple of nice onions, also available at the market now. So exciting. When it's tomato season, it's everything season. You've got your peaches and your blueberries and your corn and your zucchini, and it's just a time to celebrate fresh produce. I do add a little bit of celery, not too much, but it helps give the sauce body. And I'll just give this a little stir. And what I want to do at this point is sweat out the vegetables. And that simply means softening them up so their cells release the water and their flavor at the same time, but I don't want to promote any browning or caramelization. If I added my liquids without going through this step, those vegetables wouldn't really fully soften. So you have to let them cook on their own for about 5 minutes. So while these cook, I'm going to prepare my other flavor elements. Also picked up some beautiful garlic at the market. So I'm going to go for about 3 cloves of garlic. And this is, I'm going to take a paring knife. This garlic is so fresh. It's actually hard to separate the cloves. There we go. Once you get the first one, the rest are easy. I should turn down my heat. There we go. Oh, when onions are fresh, they smell so good. When you get those end of season onions and they've kind of got that acrid aroma, oh, just not the same at all. Because I'm not crushing my tomatoes first before I cook them, I'm going to puree this sauce once I'm done. So I don't have to finely mince the garlic, just slice it up. And for fresh herbs, I like a mix of thyme and oregano. Being summer, you've got fresh in your garden maybe, or it's easy to pick up. I do have a different version of this tomato sauce recipe. It's a winter version using slightly different ingredients, but when you want to make your own tomato sauce, which actually brings up a point. Why do you want to make your own tomato sauce? Basically, so you can control the ingredients. Some prepared sauces can be loaded with too much salt or even added sugar. And so this way, because this is a batch I put in the freezer, I can determine how flavorful or mild or sweet or not sweet at all. And it really depends on those tomatoes too at the same time. When I make this recipe for tomato sauce, I tend to put half of it in the fridge to use within the next 2 weeks. And then the other half, I just pack and keep in the freezer. So I don't even go through the whole canning procedure because I make such small batches. Just rough chop the thyme. You can go live with the garlic over there. And then I've got my fresh oregano too. I happen to have fresh oregano because it's that time of year, but honestly, using dried it's one of the few herbs that dries really well, and it can sometimes even be tastier than fresh. So I leave that up to you. Give this another stir. Oh, you can see the onions are starting to turn a little bit translucent. Okay, now I'll add my garlic, oregano, and thyme to the onion mix just to let the dry heat, before all the tomatoes go in, just kind of wake up the garlic and the herbs. And at the same time, I can add my salt. I'm adding 2 teaspoons. And I call for in the recipe pickling salt or kosher salt, because those salts have no added iodine. If you are considering packing this sauce up in and doing the sterilized jars, you want to use the salt because it can turn your garlic, surprisingly, a different color when you're pickling. So when it's pickle season this time of year, I tend to have the coarse pickling salt on hand anyhow. And I will also add just a little bit of sugar to neutralize the acidity. And I know every nonna out there, if you're watching, you have your own secret ingredient or thing you like to add, and I encourage you to do so. All right, so now that the onions have had a chance to cook down, in go all the tomatoes. And let me bring over all that liquid from the peels and the seeds. Get the last little bit of juice out of what's left here. There we go. And this can go in too. Now, if you want to add a little color intensity because it's a very fresh, vibrant, it's a summery tomato sauce. You can add a couple tablespoons of tomato paste. It won't hurt the fresh tomato flavor at all, but it'll give you more of that deeper color. I'm going for the lighter, true, fresh, summery style here. Now, it doesn't look like a whole lot of juice right now, but I'm going to now turn up the heat on my tomato sauce, cover this. Oh, let's pop in some black pepper while we're at it. And once this comes to a full boil covered, I uncover it, reduce the heat, and then simmer it. During that hour of cooking uncovered, I do give it a stir now and again, and you want those tomatoes to partially break down. But remember, we will be pureeing it before we use it. Now that the tomatoes have come up to a full rolling boil, I take the lid off the pot, give it a stir, and turn down the heat. Now I can let this simmer away for about an hour, stirring it occasionally. And I'm looking for those tomatoes to start breaking down. And of course, it already smells incredible. Oh, what a transformation. You can really see how those tomatoes cooked down, let off so much liquid, and the aromas of the oregano and thyme and garlic with these fresh tomatoes. Oh, so delicious. Okay, so now it's time to puree the sauce. I'm using a blender. A food processor will work. I'll have to do it in batches. You'll notice I don't add fresh basil to my tomato sauce. That's because I want to keep this as a good base sauce. Not every recipe deserves or needs basil, so I'd rather add it when I'm preparing that specific dish. Okay, lid on. And because it's a hot sauce, I'll do a little steam release and hold a towel on. Oh, the minute you lift the lid off the blender, that rich sauce aroma comes through. And I just don't have space to pour it in front of you. You'll just have to trust me. I'll show you in a minute. There we go. Now I have space. Finish off this last batch. So you really do yield a decent amount. This wouldn't get you through the winter, but it's a good amount of tomato sauce to have on hand for your favorite pasta dishes. I did make some fresh spaghetti, so let's have a little pasta right now. can't go wrong when you've got a good tomato sauce as a base for just about any Italian dish. It's up to you if you want to let the tomato sauce cool in the bowl and then just pack it in containers to freeze or pop in the fridge. This is a batch I made yesterday, so I keep them on hand. I go through this amount of sauce so quickly that these will both just stay in the fridge. So you really see that color sort of settle into place, and you know it's a summer tomato sauce. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll give this recipe a try. I love sharing these essentials recipes with you. Let me know if you're enjoying them and make a comment below and I'll keep up with them. In the meantime, well, I think a meatball recipe would be well timed right about now. Call that pretty essential. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you again. Oh, that's beautiful tomato flavor. Bye, everyone.